Yeah, so I have a degree in studio art, visual art from Brandeis University, and then an MFA in painting from Parsons School of Design in New York City. And I've always been making art in one way or another. And at some point, about 15 years ago, I started working with watercolor. And prior to that, I had been a painter working in oil on canvas. But watercolor completely changed the way I worked, and both in terms of imagery and process. And I love the ability to move things around. With paper in general, it's easier to work with. And so this specific series, which one of the pieces is right here at the Mayo Clinic Square.
Oh, great, yeah.
This specific series is a series of watercolor on paper paintings, and each one is 5 by 7 feet. Each piece is made of 8 sheets of Arches paper.
Okay.
When I start a piece, each sheet of paper gets rotated and even moved around until I commit to an image.
Okay.
And so from the very beginning of the process, it's very intuitive and organic and open. And once I start working, I work with these teeny brushes, making small lines and shapes and washes of color that get built up into really dense structures. So it's a very interesting and slow process.
Yes.
It's a process that's really guided by intuition and allowing things to be revealed and using them as part of the imagery.
And what inspired you, what motivated you to get involved in the Made Here project downtown?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, in 2013, I was part of the Made Here then, and I think that was the first one.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
I had a wonderful experience, not only meeting the other artists, but having that interaction with random people that would walk by and take a look at my work through the windows. And I just love that idea of making art accessible, bringing it out into the public, not just having it in my studio or in a gallery.
Sure.
And so when the call was open for this year's Made Here, I applied immediately. And the theme for this year was intersections.
Yes.
And I thought that my work is really all about intersections. So it's about the intersection of, the tiny line against the dense, crowded, physical shape that is in the end. It's about the intersection of colors. I use really bright, saturated colors, typically contrasting colors. So for this, for the piece that's at the Mayo Clinic, I use this really bright green and bright magenta, and I felt like the colors really intersected. At the same time, my work thematically is about memories and how memories come together to create these places of identity. And I think a lot about the intersection of memory and place. So typically each one of the large pieces starts from a very specific memory, usually a memory from childhood of, sunlight on the floor of my grandmother's bedroom, or looking at the sea as a child, or a nasty green carpet that we had in the playroom. And I use that almost as a hook to try to tap into some sort of sense of personal identity.
Oh, great.
And so, that memory, which may be translated into a color or a pattern or a series of lines, just gets repeated and layered and twisted and tangled until it just is built up into this, almost three-dimensional structure. Right. And it then becomes sort of a container of memory. It becomes a thing rather than a fleeting fragment. Right.
So where can people find your Made Here project? You mentioned it was in the Mayo Clinic Square, and what do you hope people get out of it as they walk by it?
Yeah, so this piece is right in the main lobby of Mayo Clinic Square, to the right, and it's quite visible. A lot of people walk through the lobby on their way to do shopping or to the Mayo Clinic offices, and my hope is that it will just in some way allow for an experience to happen of somebody maybe stopping or just walking by and remembering it and wanting to come back later and take a look, just to have, you know, some sort of experience, some sort of visual or visceral or even just an interest in seeing how it's made.
Sure. Great. Well, thank you so much
Thank you.
for your time. Is there anything else that you want to add about the Made Here project or your
For
your
me,
work?
it has been a wonderful experience working with the Made Here crew, with Joan and Rosie and the installation team, where everybody was amazing. So I really
Fantastic. Well, I can't wait to go look at your piece.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.